The last video was about Blockade Australia, um, and I've been reading their stuff, just their website, the purpose statement, and there doesn't really seem to be a lot of purpose to it. Um, I think there's a lot of good stuff there. Just on the surface, they can't really disagree with a whole lot. But there's no. What's the plan? What's the plan? What do you climate action? What does that mean? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? There's been a massive exponential growth in population of humans in the last 100 years or so. A lot of that has to do with fertilizer, our ability to feed more people. Um, Michael Moore, I did mention that the Planet of the Humans. He did mention that population growth, and he got um, they're accused of being eco-fascist because of that. And the WEF, Klaus Schwab, etc., Yuval Noah Harari, the transhumanist people, they want massive depopulation too, I think. So how they're going to do it, we can only speculate. But the sort of normal gradual population decline by people simply not reproducing could take a while. And all this stuff that we use every day costs a lot of energy. The laptop I'm using takes energy, your fridges, everything, and cars. I live near a busy road, and when you can't cross there, there's not many lights. You just see, car after car and after car. And when you think about it, I sort of reflect on it sometimes. Whenever I'm there, I think, every car needs fuel, and a lot of industrial processes just going into making them. More and more cars, and these Blockade Australia people need to think about that. What's the plan? Is it anarcho-primitivism? Um, if so, they should just say that, if that's their plan. Do they have any goals on population reduction? And I think it has to be done. A lot of people would scream at me about that because they say this is Klaus Schwab sort of stuff, but the reality is there's been a massive exponential biological growth in the human population, and exponential biological growths tend to have a limit, and once they hit the limit, there's a big die-off. You see that all the time. That's a basic law of biology, a basic facet of biology, that once you hit your limit, you're going to go downhill. The population will plummet. Somehow, the system will collapse and a lot of people are going to die. Somehow. It's going to be very ugly. So something has to be done about the population. And the civilization, the industrial civilization, I don't know whether this solar panels and the like, watch Planet of the Humans. It is accused of being out of date, and maybe it's a little bit over the top. Maybe there's criticisms to be made, but you need to watch Planet of the Humans and just sort of absorb a little bit of what's in that. And so they need to have a goal. What's the goal? These Antifa guys, Tom Tanuki and the others, they were often saying that the freedom movement, so-called, didn't have any coherent goals. Maybe that's sort of true. There were people trying to piggyback onto the thing, a few Christian fundamentalists and various types of fascists and nationalists, Eastern European nationalists, Southeastern European, and quite a few other people. Yav Yemeni was looking for subscriptions, and a bit of payola, and Clive Palmer and Hanson are going to try to use it to get a few years in Parliament, and their little Canberra little subsidisation. I don't know what Clive Palmer, $100 million for what he got. He's a bit off his rocker. It's a shocking waste of money. A 90% tax on billionaires. Go Bernie style, uh, 70% at 20 million, I think. I think that what AOC and Bernie were talking about a few years ago. I don't want to talk about AOC. She's lost the plot a bit. She's been absorbed into the Borg. But the criticism from the Antifa guys and others is no coherent demands. But as I explained, the demands are simple. No lockdowns and no vaccine mandates, no compulsory vaccinations, no vaccinations of children. Absolutely not. There's no need for that. Once you get to about five, I'd say 4 or 5, there's very little risk. So I thought the demands of that were fairly clear. There was muddying of the waters by people trying to hijack the movement. But I thought the basic demands were fairly clear, but I'm not really getting any sort of idea of what the Blockade Australia people really want. What's the action? It's fine to jump up on the bits of industrial infrastructure and bridges and all these sort of stunts. There's nothing wrong with that, but if they want anarcho-primitivism, they should say that. I don't think a lot of these suburban people are going to give up their cars and their washing machines and dryers and big 60-inch TVs easily. That's going to be a very difficult struggle. So I don't know what's really going to be done. I think population is a key. Alternative sources of energy. This was a goal of Jared K. O'Neill's space colony stuff. That was going to be a byproduct. It was going to link solar power down to the ground. You can look up all that Jared O'Neill's stuff, space colonies, and the plan for solar energy to be directed back down to the Earth. That was going to be a win-win. So I don't know. What if it's anarcho-primitivism? They should say it. And if it's something else, they need to put out a detailed plan. There's sort of vague statements. I don't think are satisfactory for this. I don't think it can be supported unless they come up with more detailed plans.